Hello and welcome to Meet the Awesomenauts, and today we're going to be taking a look at Sheriff Lonestar. Now, Lonestar's skills are comprised of Blaster, Dynamite Throw, Hyperbole, and Double Jump, and we'll be taking a more in-depth look at each skill a little bit later on in the video. First off, let's take a look at some of the alternate costumes available for Lonestar. The first being Private Mel's. Now, Private Mel's was designed by Mel's, a child that stopped by the Ronimo Studios through the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And he designed Mel's and they put it in the game for him, so that was pretty cool. The second being Officer Lonestar. And as you can see, Officer Lonestar is basically wearing some police get-up, and it looks pretty neat. Now back to the skills. The first skill we're going to look at is the Blaster skill. Now, it's basically your standard sci-fi blaster that shoots out a yellow laser shot, and it's pretty effective for close to somewhat medium range, I'd say. And I got Coco with it, I believe, right there. And as you can see, it's, your basic laser, and you've got some decent range with it. You can't really say too much about it. Now, the second skill we're going to look at is the Dynamite Throw skill, in which Lonestar is able to throw a couple sticks of dynamite in the air. You can do it while you're jumping or you're standing on the ground, and it's particularly useful when used against turrets or the end base, which I'm using it on right now. The third skill that we're going to look at is the Hyperbole skill, probably my favorite, and it's extremely effective, and we'll touch more on it in the strategy section. But what you can basically do is push back enemies pretty effectively, and it's very useful for when an enemy is about to use one of their charges. You can push them back so that their charge doesn't affect any of your teammates. So very useful skill, the Hyperbole. And last but not least, we're going to take a look at Double Jump. Now, Double Jump allows Sheriff Lonestar to basically double jump. Your first jump is just a standard jump. Then if you hit X again while you're in the air, or depending on what control scheme you use, you'll get a little bit of a boost from some little jetpacks built into Lonestar's shoes. Now, all of the aforementioned skills can be made quite a bit more effective just by purchasing some upgrades. So we're going to take a brief look at some of the upgrades available. First off, we can add an extra stick of dynamite to our Dynamite Throw. We could then increase the dynamite's explosion, and we can also make the dynamite bounce. Onto the half of the Hyperbole, we can make the Hyperbole bigger and push harder. We can reduce its cooldown, and we can also make it slow enemies down, which is very helpful. We could also add a missile to our blaster shots. We could increase the attack speed of our blaster, and we could also increase the damage of the blaster. Then we have the standard increase maximum health, automatically regenerate health, and increase walk speed and enable triple jump, which is pretty cool. Now onto the other half. We can make our dynamite have a blinding effect, a lifesteal effect, and we can also make it do more damage over time with a burning effect. We can also make the Hyperbole slow our enemies even more. We can make it do damage, and we can make it explode on death. We could also increase the damage of our blaster shots even more, make our blaster shots and missiles deal kind of an area damage, or add another missile to our blaster shots. We could also decrease the debuffs by 25%, give ourselves 130 solar, or increase the solar we gain over time. Now, there are a few strategies that are my favorites, and I thought I'd kind of go over those just to give you a little insight into what are some of the tactics I like to use. The first being a dynamite bounce combined with the dynamite area of effect and an extra stick of dynamite. By having all three of these upgrades, I can kind of not really get that near to a turret, throw my dynamite, and do damage to the turret without getting within its immediate range. And even when enemies are present, you can still stay pretty safe. And of course, my favorite is to use the Hyperbole to push enemies towards our turret, which creates some confusion because when it happens to me, I know I get all disoriented, and all I can think about is I've got to get away from this turret. You just start jumping around frantically, and you end up getting some pretty easy kills by using that. So, thank you for watching. Hopefully you learned a thing or two about Sheriff Lonestar. Now, if you are interested in hearing some more about video game news, reviews, or deals, please stop over at pressingx.com. I write some articles over there, and I'm just kind of getting things started over there. So, have a great day.